Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a big one, going global. It's one of the most ambitious moves any company can make, and we're going to hand you the playbook for how to think about it.
So you're dreaming of taking your business global, right? I mean, the opportunity is absolutely massive. But let's be real. Expanding internationally isn't just about slapping your logo on a new office overseas. It's a journey, and believe me, it is loaded with challenges.
In fact, we like to call this journey the global gauntlet. Think of it like a strategic quest. It's high risk for sure, but the reward even higher. And in this gauntlet, smart decisions are literally the only thing separating a huge success from a really expensive failure.
Okay, so where do you even begin? Well, before you take a single step into that gauntlet, you have to scout the terrain. And that all starts with what's called a feasibility study.
Think of this as your first and maybe most critical checkpoint. The whole point of a feasibility study is to stop you from pouring a ton of time and money into what could be a dead end. It boils down to answering one single question: should we even try to do this?
So, how does it work? Well, the process basically breaks that huge question down into 4 much more manageable steps. First, you do a preliminary analysis. Then you take a really deep dive into the market. After that, it's time for a hard, honest look at the financials. And all that, it leads you to the big one, that final, crucial decision. Is it a go or a no-go?
Now here's something that's really important not to mix up. A feasibility study is not a business plan. It's totally different. The feasibility study always comes first. The analogy I like is climbing a mountain. The study is what helps you decide if you should even try to climb that mountain in the first place. The business plan? That's the super detailed map you draw up after you've already decided, yep, we're making the climb.
And that's the whole point, right? It's about replacing those gut feelings, that intuition, or maybe pressure from your board with cold, hard data. And make sure that this massive decision you're about to make is based on a solid, rational, data-backed strategy.
All right, so let's say your feasibility study comes back positive. You get the green light. Awesome. But now you've got the next big question to tackle. It's no longer if you should go, it's how you're going to do it.
And it turns out there are 5 core ways to enter a new market. You can think of them as different vehicles for your global journey, you know? Each one has its own unique set of trade-offs when it comes to things like cost, how much control you have, and the level of commitment you're signing up for.
But here's a better way to look at it. Don't just see these as a simple checklist of options. It's way more helpful to view them as a spectrum, a whole range of strategic choices.
And this is where it gets really interesting. This chart lays out those fundamental trade-offs so clearly. So look, way over on one end, you've got exporting. It's low risk, it's fast, but you give up a lot of control. Then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have what's called a greenfield venture. Now that's building a whole new subsidiary from scratch. It gives you total, absolute control, but man, it comes at a super high cost and it's a much, much slower process.
So, when you get right down to it, your choice really boils down to balancing 2 things. 1, how much are you willing to commit? We're talking money, time, people. And 2, how much direct control do you absolutely need to have? Your answer to that question is what's going to point you toward the right strategy. And there's no better example of this in action than Starbucks. This is a perfect illustration that there is no single best way to do this. I mean, a global giant like Starbucks doesn't just have one playbook. They're constantly adapting. They used joint ventures in Japan, they bought existing companies in the UK, and they went with franchising in Thailand. It's all about adapting to the local market.
You know, in the past, making these kinds of incredibly complex decisions would have taken an army of analysts and months, maybe even years of research. But today, as with so many things, technology is completely changing the game.
And this is where something like an AI Feasibility Dashboard comes into the picture. It's an incredibly powerful tool that uses artificial intelligence to just chew through mountains of data, giving you a much clearer and, way faster, picture of the landscape you're about to enter. So, how powerful are we talking here? Well, get this. Studies are showing that these tools can boost the accuracy of your financial forecasts by up to 73% compared to the old ways of doing things. That's a huge deal. And what about the time you save? They can cut the time you spend on data analysis and getting reports ready by a staggering 85%. Think about what your team could do with all that extra time.
On top of that, they can make your analysis of the market and your competitors up to 4.5 times more efficient. I mean, that is just a massive, massive advantage to have in your corner.
But, and this is a really big but, it's so important to remember that these AI dashboards are incredible tools, but they are not a magic formula. They're like a GPS for your journey. They're the navigator, not the captain. They're there to support and inform human judgment and experience, not to replace it.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that success in going global isn't about finding some single secret right path. It's all about finding the right fit. It's about perfectly aligning your strategy, your resources, and your goals with the actual reality of the market you're trying to get into. And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. As these AI tools get smarter and smarter, will running that global gauntlet stop being an art of taking calculated risks and turn into a pure data-driven science?